Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to the finale, episodes 11 and 12 of The Legend of Vox Machina Season 1. So, as I've stated before, we will be getting to Season 2. We're just going to take a break between. So, in the afterthoughts of this video, I will be talking about what will replace this. Excuse me. We held the poll and everything, and excuse me, what the hell? Like, my throat's getting, like, I just need, like, some water or something. The problem with recording after you wake up, sometimes your throat is just scratchy and does not want to work right. But, where was I? Yeah, in the afterthoughts, I'll talk about what we're doing with the replacement and what won the poll and everything, and we'll get to that again there. But in the meantime, we have the finale, and our vampire mommy and daddy, well, mostly daddy, the wife is not a vampire. She's just a necromancer. But they have taken over, they have mind controlled two people now. We see that they mind controlled Cassandra, and it's very clear that she's mind controlled and that everything she said was not of her own free will. Anyone who was thinking that, like, she actually betrayed them, and especially her brother, because of what he had done and ran away in the past and everything, it's like, no, I'm sorry, but no. It made a very, very clear point of showing the flash of mind control in her eyes. And we then got to see that Vax gets mind controlled as well. I mean, we already saw that be set up earlier in the arc, and so we get to see kind of where that all leads now. And when they head to the ziggurat, they mention that they are spoiled for choices for sacrifices. So whatever they're doing requires a human sacrifice, and that's what Cassandra was needed for. That's why she was being mind controlled and kept with them all this time. And now that they've also got Vax, they have choices, as was put. Hey, maybe I don't know if maybe using 2 human sacrifices makes it stronger or whatnot, but we'll see how things go. Obviously, no one's going to be sacrificed. We're going to defeat the vampires, and everything's going to go well. Whew. So, the question is, how is this all going to go down, though? And are we finally going to actually find anything out about this shadowy stuff that's going on with Percy? Because he's just been dodging the question, and while we get like a little bit of information when Pike examines him and we see like what's going on with the spirit and everything, like kind of surrounding him and everything, it's like we don't get enough actual information. We don't know what that's all about. We can only guess. So I'm very interested to see how this ends, what is done at the ziggurat, and how it all sets up for the future. Sorry for all the yawning, as usual. Like I mentioned, I just woke up, so. But I'm hoping that this conclusion ends up being, like, really darn good. And, again, we will get to the next season in the future. But, again, I'll talk about that in the afterthoughts. So, for the time being, let us get this started and see what the finale has in store. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow a link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. because after it fades to black, then it fades back in. Everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, yeah, that was mostly what I expected for the end. We kind of got things wrapped up that we needed to get wrapped up. The entire beef with Uriel was resolved at the end there. We got the stuff with the demon that was controlling Percy through his need for vengeance. We took out Silas and Delilah, both in pretty epic fashion. And we got things taken care of. Everything was resolved. But it left something at the end, and there was like a little cliffhanger it chose to leave off on. After Uriel absconded the throne and chose to put a council in charge instead of a singular leader, which I think is actually a really good idea. After that, a flock of dragons are headed their way, and it's like, yeah, that's pretty fucking bad. It's like one dragon Vox Machina could probably handle. They've done that before, but there look to be at least 4 of them there. So that's more than likely going to be where season 2 kicks off. And I'm definitely interested to see what it does with that. But we are taking a break, like I said, so we'll get to that in the future. But yeah, I like the way things kind of were resolved for the most part. I wonder if the orb at the ziggurat's going to come back at all. Because right now, it doesn't look like it's actually doing much of anything, unless someone gets close to it and then they kind of just get ripped apart. But otherwise, it doesn't look like it's actually dangerous otherwise. Though, to be fair, we don't know. It could be. It's just hard to say at this point. But what we do know for sure, what we definitely can say, is that it seems like there's going to be more to it, but I don't know if they're actually going to show anything within the second season at all, because it's hard to say, like, based on how the campaign went and everything, because there might have been something left out to that, but they just never went back to that in the campaign, so it's hard to really go with that. And with the second season is probably the same amount of episodes. Like, who knows? Who knows? I very much enjoy how both Silas and Delilah died. Silas being shown the sun once again and all. And it kind of like blasting away at him. It's like, of course, like that's a classic way to kill a vampire, with sunlight, and and Keyleth using the sun tree's magic to enact on that was really smart, and Grog holding him still and everything. Yeah. And then Delilah was already a mess. She was already, let's be honest, probably gonna die anyway. She was shot and stabbed and just a mess. But then, like, while she was preparing for like one final attack against them, Cassandra just decided, I'm just gonna lunge at you with my sword and slice your neck like clean through. Like, not even all the way though, like from the middle out. It's like you only got like half the neck, and it's like that's still pretty fucking gruesome, honestly. But the little issue I have there is she did seem to think that Percy forgave her, and it's like that's very clearly not what happened. He very much did not forgive her at all. He just let go of his vengeance. There is a difference there. he chose to release his vengeance and stop the demon possessing him. And also, we see that it also was possessing the gun because when Scanlan threw the gun into the acid, yeah, it was made very apparent. And I love how Percy was like angry at first, but then you see the demon pop up in there, and he's like, "Oh shit, thanks, Scanlan." It's like just genuinely, and it's like, ah, yeah, probably a good thing he did that. And of course, Scanlan didn't actually know for sure; he just guessed that it was in there. Um, but yeah, that's going to change the dynamic with Percy in the group a lot because he's going to not be fueled by that anymore. Yeah, he's still going to be the very same straight laced guy he was in that regard. Definitely going to be more of the well to do member of the group. But yeah, he's no longer fueled by vengeance. He's no longer angry as he was. He's definitely going to have a different vibe to him going forward. Keyleth rejecting Vax. She said it was because of their responsibilities and everything to, protecting the realm, but also to her mission from the Ashari and everything. But I think she was lying. I think she was making excuses because I think she might be gay, and I'm saying like closeted as well. Because when Vex came up to her and encouraged her and everything, finally not being an asshole towards Keyleth as she's been for most of this arc, let's be honest. You saw Keyleth blush and play with her hair and everything. It's like that is not something a straight person does when being encouraged by a person of the same gender. It's like that is a very gay thing to do. Speaking as someone who is queer, that is like the blush alone was evidence enough, I feel. But on top of that, you have the straight up the hair twirling and everything. It's like it feels like very much a crush. Though to be fair, the idea that she's crushing on Vex is a little weird because Vex was extremely abusive towards her before. So the idea that she's been crushing on Vex is like a little unsettling, I guess you could say. I don't like the idea of that. It comes across as abusive and very toxic. And it's like Keyleth very much deserves someone who's actually gonna, not be toxic towards her. And I just don't trust that Vex would be that. Even though Vex has very much come around towards Keyleth a lot within this finale, I do not trust that she's going to be, good for her. So I guess the ship of her and Vax, though, is pretty much dead in the water. But the idea of Pike and Grog still stands, and I still stand by that. I don't care what anyone says. So there's that. Vax, you could ship with Gilmore now, and I already kind of shipped that anyway. And it's been made pretty clear that they have fucked before. Like, they very much have fucked before. I very much believe Vax to be bi. I think there's a good amount of evidence of that throughout this season. And speaking of, we actually really got to see Scanlan flirt with a guy for once. It's like there's been tiny little bits of that prior, but this was the most direct. Because everything before has been kind of like... It's been more of other people flirting with him or showing interest in him. Or him mistaking someone flirting with him. Like with the entire thing where he thought the guy who was asking to find the toilet, he thought that guy was flirting with him. And it's like... that wasn't actually Scanlan flirting back, though. It wasn't really the same. And the guy who was at the table when he was doing his Beats of Love song, that was definitely more of that guy flirting with Scanlan rather than the other way around. So I definitely think that this is the first time we really see Scanlan flirt with another guy. And it's like, again, we knew he was pansexual. It's like that was made very apparent, like right at the beginning of the series. Because again, he says that line that I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it's something along the lines of like he's finishing someone else's sentence and is like and Scanlan is like wants to fuck everybody in the land or something like that. Wants to bed everybody in the land, something along those lines. But it's like and he blatantly says he's not ashamed of that. It's like he's very much very pansexual. So it's good to see that actually directly shown now. And I just wish we had a little bit more of it. I wish it was more balanced. But to be fair, um, even like if you are pansexual or bisexual, it's like you can still have a preference. So maybe that is just the case. Maybe Scanlan just does prefer uh the women rather. I don't know. It's hard to tell with him, and it's just like when you have pansexual or bisexual representation in media, you do kind of want to see both because you want it to be made very clear and you want it to be like showcased. And so I'm just glad that they had that thrown in there at the end. Um, yeah, it was a really good finale, and it was obvious Cassandra was being controlled and everything. It was so fucking obvious. Like, did anyone like did anyone really fall for that? Like, really? Did anyone actually think she was a bad guy and actually believe her with her entire thing about Percy abandoning her and everything? Like, really? And it was just as unbelievable as Keyleth being in danger of dying in these episodes. It's like we knew she was not going to die. Like there was never a chance of that happening here. Um, Even if one of the characters does end up dying, because that can very much happen in a campaign of D&D. Um, it definitely wasn't going to happen here in the series like this. I just didn't believe it for a second. Because even if it happened in the campaign, I feel like they would almost want to just, mulligan that for the series. Because I don't feel like that would work for the context of the series and how it is presented. I feel like it would kind of come across as kind of off to actually kill off one of the main characters in that battle. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. It wouldn't feel right or believable from the storytelling perspective. From an actual perspective in a fight against that kind of stuff, it's like sure, I could see that, but realistically, in terms of how the story's being told and everything, they all had to survive at least this season. I think that season two's the only other season. I don't think there's going to be a season three unless I'm mistaken. I could check real quick though. I could just see if I could find like the page for this. What the hell? Okay. Oh no, season three has been announced. Okay. It was announced in October of 2022, last year, at New York Comic Con. So season three is straight up greenlit. There will be a season three. I don't know if there will be anything after that, but yeah. And I guess right now there's no known point of when it's going to release. Let me see if I can find a release date. Season 1 was released January 28th, 2022. Season 2 premiering almost a year after, January 20th, 2023. Season 2 only premiered this year? I did not know that. So there's a strong chance that Season 3 will premiere in early 2024. Okay. Well, I mean, there's that. There's no actual specific release date, I guess, given from what I can see. But that is what it is saying here. It's like just mentioning that that Season 1 and Season 2 premiered 1 year apart from each other, and so there's a likely chance that Season 3 will be at the beginning of next year. So I guess we'll see. I guess we will see how that goes. But like I said, Season 2, we will be taking a break before we get to. We will be getting to it, but we'll be taking a break. And so what we're doing is we held another poll. We held another poll for what is going to replace Vox Machina for the time being. And following that, after we finish or whatever with that series, we're going to then just come straight back to Vox Machina instead of holding another poll. Unless we end up like dropping this next series like right away or something, then we'll just hold another poll, because obviously we wouldn't have given that a fair amount of time, or a good amount of time anyway between. So you know, we have to give a fair amount of time between seasons 1 and 2 of this. But anyway, so I have no idea how this is gonna work, but we're gonna try to bring this up. So let me try a window capture first, because sometimes this browser does not work properly with window capture, so we're gonna try it. Oh no, it's actually working. Okay, so fun facts before we get to that. So I mentioned in a previous reaction that I had gotten it working to where I could record Netflix and all now. And the way I did this was I basically flipped the switch on something in the options. I forgot exactly what it was called. Was it anti-aliasing or something like that? That's the first thing that's coming to mind, but I don't know if that's actually it. But I looked up like how to do it, and that was what I was seeing. So I tried doing it, and it worked. And so now I guess it's working with window capture too. So there we go. As you could see here from our poll, I'll increase the size of this though. Also, it's showing the poll from last time. As you could see from our poll, it was kind of a runaway. Most of our polls have been runaways, which is a little sad, but Hellbound is once again shafted. Because Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, the series wins. By a pretty large margin. We didn't get as many votes as last time. We only got 25 compared to the 42 we got last time. But all three options still got voted on. There were votes for Hellbound and Kaleidoscope. I don't know how many because I don't know how to measure that out. But still, 72% was still for Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, the series. So we will be going for that. I'll go more over it in the actual first reaction to that, but just as a note, I have seen the internet animation, or yeah, you wouldn't really call them animations. They're puppetry. It's puppets and all of that. But I have seen those. I have seen the original YouTube stuff for Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, so the series is not, I guess, completely blind for me. But I have not seen any of the actual series, and I don't know anything about what happens in it. I just know about Red Guy, Yellow Guy, and the Bird, who I don't remember if he has a name other than Bird or whatnot. I don't know. But I do know them. I know about Yellow Guy's father. I've seen the film. It's film. I've seen the film theories about it. Yeah, I know all of that jazz. So, again, I'll go more over my thoughts on all of that and my history, seeing all of that in the actual reaction. But that is what will be taking place at Vox Machina. It will be taking over the slot immediately, but I don't necessarily know when I'm going to get to the first episode. It's going to be in the slot immediately. You know what I mean. Because we don't have a schedule, so it's just whenever I get to it is when I get to it. But thank you all so much for tuning in, and thank you for voting on this series in the first place. I'm glad to have gotten to this. I'm glad to have been able to react to this. And like I said, after we finish Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, or if for some reason I end up dropping it too early, after we finish it, or if I drop it later on, we'll just get right back to Vox Machina. If I end up dropping it too early for some reason, we'll probably just do another poll. And at that point, maybe I'll just make it between Hellbound and Kaleidoscope if that happens, instead of adding a new one right now, just because it would be like a too soon thing. I don't know. But we will be getting back to season 2 of Vox Machina in a bit. So don't worry, that will still be happening. And honestly, if I'm being honest, I don't see myself dropping Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. I don't see it happening. So we should be all safe from that. But all of that being said, thank you once again so much for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.